What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? We are here with Miles from the Salon Report, and we have Zach and Ryan, two of the guys you might remember from Brass Valley, who are here building guns with us. But today, not here to build guns. Today, we're here to check out some of the photos that you have from sent to you by Abdullah from Khyber Pass. They do some weird stuff. If you're not familiar with what they do in Khyber Pass, it's kind of, even for the AK guys, it's pretty fucking crazy.
So I think to set the scene about Dara a little bit, I want to begin with about 100 years ago is when the gun making really started taking off because gun control. So what did the local Pashtuns do in the area? Well, they were like, well, we can't buy them, we'll make them. Today, the biggest town that we know of that is Dara Adam Khel. That's where, the homemade guns are that come out of that. But you also have a lot of stuff that's from Peshawar. And you have the guns from Peshawar are a little bit different in quality and caliber from what's coming out of Dara, which is more your village level stuff.
Right.
I digress. Oh wait, as cool as the stuff from the Middle East is, the stuff coming out of Dara and the tribal regions just craps all over
Crazy.
it. The stuff that they're doing in Pakistan is insane, given the capabilities, the limited capabilities that they have. There is actual production happening there. Where's a good example? So this thing, ZB26
right
put together.
I'd say that's a pretty good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I looking at?
This, I believe it was either, Abdullah was talking about, it was either a Bren and a ZB26 mix that was sort of put together in some way and they added all this extra stuff on it. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
It kind of looks like a Bren.
Yeah.
It's definitely based on one of those, but
Based on
which one I couldn't
Shut
say.
up, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's more ZB26 based on that.
Yeah.
Although Brens are definitely huge within the region because you'll have Indian supply as well that came in and Pakistani supply as well with the British influence.
Wow.
Stanag magazine production, in the tribal regions. That's something, you see a Stanag magazine there, it's that doesn't necessarily mean it was captured from, the US or Afghan forces in Afghanistan and then pushed over. This is actually happening there with that sort of stuff. Freaking engraved
Slap side.
AKs.
Those are pretty baller.
Yeah. Fake Magpul production. That exists, and then the fake Bakelights. Fake Bakelights, they exist in the US. There's a guy who's selling them in Texas, I think, for $200 a pop.
Yep.
Really?
He's able to get some of them in. Those exist. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to talk about these.
Of course.
So this one I know we've done on Curse Gun Images before. That AR-15M AK hybrid. What the hell did they do here?
So it's meeting the customer demand, right? And the idea behind it is customers are liking the modularity and the ambidexterity of an M16 or an M4 platform, but they want the ruggability of an AK, the reliability of that. So it's just meeting customer demand of what customers want. And if I recall, what was it? It's like an AK operating system, but then the external controls are, you have that safety, you have that magazine. A lot of them use Stanag magazines. This one looks like it's in 308 or 8mm, something like that.
So the thing bothering me the most about this is the feed angle. Look at where that magazine should
Yeah.
probably end. That thing has to go at a fucking 90-degree angle to start to enter the chamber. How the fuck does this work?
It might not work.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But you know what does work? Acre Gold. What's up, guys? It's me from the future again, here to tell you about our sponsor for today's video. In case you do find yourself in Khyber Pass one day, you might want a currency that's never worth zero. You can sign up for Acre Gold in the link in the description and down there in the pinned comment. That way, you won't be caught with your pants down in the hypothetical scenario you get teleported to Pakistan and you need to get your hands on some of the sweet AKs. US dollars just won't cut it. And on a little bit more of a realistic note, it's probably just a good idea all around. Diversify your investment portfolio outside of lead and brass. So once again, we want to thank our friends at Acre Gold. Let's get back to the video.
This looks like shotguns using a 12 gauge or maybe a 410. Shotguns even in Afghanistan are actually unrestricted. You can buy Turkish shotguns in the market. Again, because you don't have, it's not a military weapon, so it's considered a civilian weapon kind of thing.
Right.
So it's available. And you see a lot of Afghans who actually buy them, security guards who get them because you need different permits for that kind of stuff.
Is that right there? That looks like it's got crink furniture on it, and it's pretty dope looking. That gas block combo looks kind of like a Yugo, like an M92 PAP.
Yeah. And you get that sort of, from the crink side of things, you get that sort of, looking at that status symbol of the Krinkov and trying to incorporate in that and trying to bring it all together,
For sure.
that kind of thing.
Now, is that one of your fake wire folders?
That one I can't tell from here. I'm gonna assume it's fake without further inspection.
Yeah.
Um,
Look at the butt plate is kind of curved outwards, whereas these are kind of scalloped inwards.
Plus, it looks like it goes
Yeah.
down farther.
exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
And those, there isn't a mass presence of MPIKs in Afghanistan or Pakistan in terms of surplus AKs that are in the region. Middle East, different. You had a lot of MPIK sales to Iraq and to the region as well. So that's why you get that sort of influence of that folder. This folder is not as prevalent there as it is in the Middle East. In there. Again,
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Again, this thing with the Standag magazine, and you actually see the charging handle. You notice the charging handle at the back with the AR style charging handle here?
Jesus.
Too.
Did they actually weld that to the bolt carrier to be able to... And it's got the Colt markings, too. That's
Yes, of
absurd. That is a very downward angled optic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for mortar fire.
Yeah.
Um,
Grenade launcher, of course.
exactly. And again, I think an important distinction here is that, like, the actual Pakistani collectors who are buying these things, like, guys, like, self-respecting collectors who are interested in small arms aren't going to buy this. They want the real thing. They want, actual American, European stuff that has made its way into the country, either smuggled or leaked from state armories and that kind of thing. They want that. They aren't going to buy this. They actually look down on this kind of stuff just as much as, some of us in the States
As they
would. Like,
should.
what the heck?
That's good to know. It's actually reassuring.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is not like a coveted item among the guys who are actually looking at this kind of thing.
Right.
If you were to compare this to something in the U.S., this is, like an Anderson Lower or something like that.
Right.
Like,
I think of like the 22 faux MP5s.
Yeah.
That's kind of what comes to mind.
like the GSG kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that kind of deal exists.
Now, yeah, all right, we got to talk about that one. The gold AKs, everybody thinks back to like the Saddam's Palace kind of stuff like that. How prevalent is that over there? Like, is that actually a thing that is coveted?
Within Dara, within the KPK region, gold blinged out stuff, I've noticed more in the Middle East rather than in Afghanistan / Pakistan. If you see it in Pakistan, it's going to be more of, it's chromed. You see a lot of engravings, that kind of thing. Just to go back to the Middle East, the bling stuff is like huge status symbol there. The interesting thing you mentioned, I'm glad you did, about Saddam's AKs and Saddam's golden stuff. Saddam, like, we know a little bit about Saddam's collection, and Saddam wasn't into collecting this. Like,
Really?
Saddam was not into this kind of stuff. He was in, again, just like the coveted collectors who are into the real stuff, he was into the real stuff. He wasn't into this.
Wow.
These were gift guns that Saddam would use in politics, in diplomacy, and he would give out these guns as gifts. That's what they were for.
But
They
his
were-
real deal stuff, like
Yeah.
he wanted the actual. I never thought I'd say this, but you know what? Damn it, I respect Saddam Hussein's taste.
Instead of a gold-plated thing, what people usually go for is the crink as a status
Yes.
symbol. And, just to go...
Just like America.
Yeah, exactly. So, just to keep things in perspective, the cost of a Krinkov in 1983, so in the middle of,
we got
Afghan...
one right there, actually.
Yeah. Oh, happy days. Yeah. So the cost of one of these, a real captured, Russian AKS-74U, 1983, as mentioned in a Soldier of Fortune magazine article published there, the cost of one of these was 4 dushkas. The approximate cost of 4 dushkas.
Wow.
So if you had 4 dushkas, you could be like, I got 4 dushkas, now I'm gonna get a crink. So it's like, it doesn't.
I love that's a fucking unit of currency.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
how many dishkas do you want for that house? Okay.
Yeah. So in place of the sort of, blinged out AKs, you have the sort of crink that exists there. In addition to the engraved stuff. That's that. But yeah, golden guns, not as prevalent. Boom.
Whoa.
You gotta
What
say
is
that
going
one.
on?
Yeah, that's a lot to look at.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those confusion camo where there's so much
wow.
going on. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
even see the engraving.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's what I mean with the engraving. There's much more of this chromed out sort of engraving that's in there and it's throughout.
Is that all hand done?
Yeah. I mean, from here, like, I don't have this in my hands,
Yeah.
but I'm going to make an assumption with that. So then, boom.
That's
And,
too.
this compensator.
oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
third pin.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, it's the status symbol in the way of like, you know, a small Pakistani child spent 96 hours doing all of this engraving.
This freaking thing.
What in the world?
This might be for we need to ask Abdullah about this, but this appears to be maybe like a Tokarov round that they have there because there's a big surplus of Tokarov rounds. 7.62 Tokarov.
Diamond Arms Co.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Diamond Arms Co. and Colt.
It was a
It's a
collaboration.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly.
Double the names, double the quality.
Diamond Arms Company is a legitimate company though. In I forget if they're in Dara or if they're in Peshawar, but they're a legitimate company that do other stuff in addition to this.
There is a scope on a Tokarev round.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what you do, I guess?
This might actually be a real Gen 5 lower with this faked upper on it. Would appear on some of the Pakistani stuff. The Peshawar produced Glock copies. For some reason, at least the earlier ones, I don't know about the current ones, but the earlier ones, they couldn't copy the trigger exactly. So you actually, if you look closely at some of the triggers on them, they actually have a slit that's kind of in the middle where they have that sort of connecting part for the safety. So you can actually tell the difference between some of them with that slit.
Interesting.
I think they've upgraded it though since then. So this is something. So for example, and this is what I mean again between, you know, an AR copy that is, you know, a Dari copy versus an actual AR. And this is where it's like, you know, within the tribal regions and within Pakistan, you know, an actual NATO M4, because they do exist, usually they come via Afghanistan, you know, given via USA to the Afghan National Army, captured in fighting with the Taliban, and then sold back through Pakistan. Like, people make a distinction of like, this is a real M16A4, this is a real M4, this isn't a fake, you know? And so you get stuff like this over here, it's like, it's like, you can tell this is a copy, but the person who's gonna buy this in Pakistan isn't someone who's like, you know, I want a real M4. They're like, no, I want something as close as possible to an M4 for half the price, because the actual M4 supply and demand, even though this stuff is being captured in Afghanistan and then making its way to Pakistan, the quantity is still very low. So the amount of M4s and M16A4s that are in circulation in the market is still extremely low, and you have several $1,000s for an M16A4 or an M4 versus this, which might be, I don't know, $1,000 or $1,500. So the person who's buying this isn't buying it because he's like, I think this is an M4. No, he's buying it because I want an M4, I can't afford an M4, so I'll get the next best thing, which is this.
It's just as good.
Yes.
Just as good.
If not better.
Yeah, and this is it. So this is kind of funny because you have, Battle Arms Development on here, but then you also have it in the style of like a Daniel Defense.
Oh yeah, DDM4 right there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, guys, I think we're gonna wrap for today. Trust me, we could be here all day, and there's a good chance that we probably might. But hope you guys liked the video. Definitely big thanks, Miles. You can check him out over at the Salah Report.
Yes.
Anything else you want to plug?
Abdullah from Khyber Armory, amazing guy, awesome guy, great friend of mine, known him for years. Check out his stuff as well. He's doing good stuff there. If I can just plug some more stuff.
Yeah.
We want to sell this in the US so people can, you know, appreciate like this just weird, cool, unique stock.
Yeah.
We hope to have them online at Salah Report. We're looking at about $150 per stock. They're handmade in Indiana. It'll be a little bit different looking than this. We're gonna put a butt plate on it. We're gonna put a sling swivel on it. But yeah, it's just something to appreciate there. So keep in mind there. With Salah Report, we're completely funded by the store thing. So selling stuff like this, we're gonna have AK chest rigs coming in from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Actual leather chest rigs, the real deal, hand stitched, made in Kabul over here. Hopefully we'll have those up on the store. So we're funded by this store stuff, and we're also funded by Patreon. Right now we're at like $460 a month. If we could get up to like $1,000 a month, we'd be rolling.
Awesome.
Like we could, and what that money, all that money, what that goes to is our writers paying for articles, paying for editing, paying for upkeep of the store, paying for upkeep of the website, working on databases for all this stuff. So researchers and other people like you can go in there and be like, hey, I want to see what, you know, this kind of thing or that kind of suppressor or this kind of stock looks like. You can just search in there and be like, hey, yeah, this is it.
So if you're interested in that kind of content, definitely go over there and check him out. Definitely recommend it. Some good stuff over there that you can't find anywhere else. It's pretty awesome. So,
And you got a good stuff going on here, man.
oh, we
Awesome.
appreciate that you at least think so. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm going to leave all the links in the description and in the pinned comment. And as always, I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. Thanks.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top. But I can stop.